Hello dear viewers. When we look around us, we see that modern people are giving more importance to money because in today's modern society, an individual is judged by the money he has. A person becomes worthless if he has no money, and money is the root of all evil. Money has fearful, cruel power, and this money is making people mad. It is making them crazy. And the poem that we are going to study is a poem written by J.A.T. Lawrence, Money Madness. This poem is about financial insanity. Myself, Professor Meshramkar Suntera, Assistant Professor in Department of English, J.A.T, Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Malegaon. The present poem is written by D.H. Lawrence. D.H. Lawrence, a well-known English poet. David Herbert Lawrence. He was born on 11 September 1885 and died on 2nd March 1930. He wrote novels and short stories and some poems. The prominent works of D.H. Lawrence are Sons and Lovers, The Rainbow, Women in Love, Lady Chatterley's Lover, and some short stories. The present poem is about the madness of people for money. So we'll focus on its introduction, the text of the poem, the themes in this poem, its structure, its symbolism, and the impact of money on human life. Money Madness. This is a narrative poem which tells the story of a man's descent into madness due to his obsession with money. The poem begins with the protagonist's realization that he is losing his sanity. As the poem progresses, he further descends into madness. The poem ends with the man's death, means the narrator's death, leaving the reader to ponder the consequences of his obsession. The present poem appeared in D.H. Lawrence's posthumous poetry collection, The Sheep of Death and Other Poems. This poem is about the greed of humankind for money, wealth, and possessions. D.H. Lawrence has chiefly centered his thoughts on the materialism of modern society. In this modern world, money has become a parameter to judge one's worth. If a person does not have money, he becomes worthless. People check how much money the person has. If he has very small amount with him, they make him grovel and eat dirt. The poem is written in a style which is very haunting and captivating. The language of the poem is very poetic and evocative. The imagery is vivid and powerful. This poem conveys the message that Money can be a dangerous obsession and it can lead to tragic end. So it is a warning against the dangers of greed and materialism. It is the reminder of the consequences of an unchecked obsession with money. Now we'll focus on the text. What the poet says: money is our madness, our vast collective madness. And of course, if the multitude is mad, the individual carries his own grain of insanity around with him. Here the poet says that the modern man has become crazy. He has become mad. This modern society is running after stinging. It is running after this money, wealth, and possessions only. So this poem is the exposition of the world which runs only for material wealth. The people are invested in the race to collect money. For the money, they are willing to sacrifice their morals and their sanity. So all people are mad, and therefore the poet says, this is collective madness of people, and every individual is mad. He carries his craziness, he carries his madness along with him. This madness is spoiling the society. The whole world being money mad is a sum of individual people who are in turn are turning insanely money oriented. So all are money oriented. The poet has focused the craziness of people for money. Then the poet says, I doubt if any man living hands out a pound note without a pang, and a real tremor if he hands out a 10-pound note. We quell, money makes us quell. It has got us down. We grovel before it is in strange terror. Here the poet laments that people are so afraid to lose whatever money they have. They find it hard to spend it as a charity. Even if 1 pound a person gives as a charity, he feels sorry for it. So, if he spends 10 pounds, he becomes afraid of losing a large amount of money, and therefore he shakes with anxiety and sadness. The poet says, we have become enslaved to the chains of money power. It makes us prostrate and worship it. Money controls our thoughts. Money influences our actions. The poet further says, and no wonder, for money has a fearful cruel power among men. The poet has focused that money has power, a fearful cruel power. But it is not money we are so terrified of. It is the collective money madness of mankind. For mankind says with one voice, "How much is he worth?" Now here the poet says that a person is judged by the money he has. The people ask about a person, "How much is he worth?" Means, how much money does he possess? The poet says, there is something powerful that works in this modern world, and this is a kind of social status. The society offers social status to people who have money. A person who has money gets higher status, and a person who is without it gets lower status. So, money has become the single biggest marker which can tell the worth and importance of a person in society. So, a person is evaluated in present society by the money that he has. The person is judged by his possession, by his wealth. The poet further says, "And if I have no money, they will give me a little bread. So I do not die, but they will make me eat dirt with it. I shall have to eat dirt. I shall have to eat dirt if I have no money. It is that I am frightened of." Now here, the poet says that money has become very important in the society. In today's world, a man suffers from deprivation and poverty, and if he suffers from it, he is condemned as weak, unfit, and such person is considered as liable to suffer. Such person has to struggle, scrap, and suffer pains. And the only reason is that he is a poor man. The poet says, the death of such person becomes insignificant because a person lived a poor man's life. The poet says, "These people will give me little bread so that I do not die, but they will make me eat dirt with it." Means, a poor person will be compelled to eat dirt with bread. The poet says, "I shall have to eat dirt. I shall have to eat dirt if I have no money, and it is that I am frightened of." Means, the speaker in the poem is frightened of eating dirt. Further, the poet says, and that fear can become a delirium. The fear of the speaker becomes delirium. It is fear of my money. It is fear of my money mad fellow men. We must have some money to save us from eating dirt. If a person wishes that he should not be compelled to eat dirt, he should have some money. Otherwise, he will be forced to eat dirt. The poet says, and that's all wrong. Bread should be free, shelter should be free, fire should be free to all and anybody, all over the world. Bread should be free, shelter should be free, fire should be free to all and anybody, all over the world. The poet says, bread should be free for all people, shelter should be free for all people, fire should be free for all people. It means bread, shelter, fire, all these things are made be available to everyone universally. It should be made available everywhere. The poet says, we all struggle to earn living. These are all basic necessities. And the cost of such things impoverishes man. Once man's basic needs are met, he will regain his financial sanity. Therefore, all these basic needs should be fulfilled. All these things should be made available to each and every person. And the poet says that everyone should be given all these things. We must regain our sanity about money before we start killing one another about it. It is one thing or the other. The poet says, all the basic needs should be made available, and then we will gain our sanity. The primary reason for unhappiness and suffering is the absence of money. Here, the poet says, everyone should get money. Not money, but everyone should get the basic necessities. And for these basic things, all these things should be made free. No one should have been forced to pay money for it. So, here the poet says, the pursuit of money is making all human beings inhuman. This poem has focused the craziness of man for money. This poem explores the theme of greed and materialism. It warns us against the dangers of the obsession which is for money. This poem explores the themes of mental illness and despair. The consequences of this obsession is death. Now, the other themes are also associated with money. It means there is focus on materialism, fear, cruelty, and lack of compassion. The main theme centers around the lust for money. The poet says, money has turned into a precious thing for a living. People have become ruthless in protecting their wealth. Money madness is the root cause of all the evils. People have lost their compassion and love for each other. And they have no love for poor fellows. This poem explores the theme of death and mortality. The death of the narrator or the protagonist serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of living in the present. Money cannot buy happiness. Money cannot buy inner peace. In this poem, the poet has used narrative technique. The poem is divided into 4 sections. Every section tells protagonist's story. The protagonist realizes that he is slowly losing his sanity. As the poem moves ahead, he descends into madness. And finally, the poem ends with his death. The language of the poem is poetic and evocative. The imagery is really very vivid and powerful. And the poet has given a message that money can be a dangerous obsession. It can lead to tragic end. The poet has used symbols in this poem. The title is highly symbolic. People are crazy. They are mad for money. All are crazy. So, this madness or this love for money is universal. The protagonist descends into madness. It is a powerful reminder of the consequences of this obsession of money. The poet has used the image of a pile of coins, and it represents the protagonist's obsession with money. These coins symbolize the power of money. The poet has used the image of tattered suit. Here, it is a symbol of former wealth and status. And later on, finally, the person turns to his tragic end. He goes towards his tragic end. So this warning is for all. This poem is a warning for all. The poet tries to give us message that we should not be obsessed with money. Money is dangerous obsession and it leads to tragic end. Here, it is a good reminder for the fragility of the life. Our life is temporary. It is very delicate. We are not sure about our life. So whatever we have in our life, we should be happy, we should be satisfied with it. We should try to learn to live in the present. So, the importance of living a life with proper balance is important. So, the poet D.H. Lawrence has given a good message to all readers that we should not run after money. So this is the message which is conveyed by D.H. Lawrence in this poem. Thank you for watching. Thank you.